I'm a secret root tree, and all I got was this stupid shirt. Alright, so we beat the game, and I got, like, the secret ending, I guess, functionally. And now it's time to play the weird DLC thing. I think we go to new game? Roottreemania. Find out what happens to the infamous family in a whole new mystery. Roottreemania will spoil unlocked content. Make sure you tied up any loose ends before starting. I think they're hinting at you better have gotten the secret ending, maybe? But, like, that was a weird ending, right? Like, not narratively, but as in, like, you had to type it in at the same, and, like, you had one shot at confirming it? I guess it was just the name, though, right? Like, at that point, you pretty much have to know that it's her gay parents, which weren't even really implied, but just told to you by then anyway. You just didn't necessarily know his exact name, but the shape of the tree still more or less told you, oh, he's one of the heirs. That's why it was placed there, right? That was an odd little secret. It was very stressful to have to lock it in, even when you're relatively sure, like, no, this all adds up. This must be the name, right? Even though it's kind of... One, it was a silly name, so that draws some doubt. But two, you're just sitting there being like, the fact that you can't confirm it in any way before you press the button just makes it very intimidating to press the button. Alright, well, let's play the sequel thing. I wonder how long it is by comparison. New slot, I guess.
Hi, I'm Clark. Probably not who you expected to be knocking, but life's funny sometimes. You've done well staying anonymous. It took us a while to track you down. A lot has happened in the last year. Far too much of it public. But there's stuff going on behind the scenes, too. I never wanted to be president. I'm not great with stress. And with my mother's deteriorating I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here because part of the fallout of Sam's book is that everyone's coming out of the woodwork. Now that it's public knowledge the Clancid Trust covers any root tree despite their history with us, a lot of potential cousins have surfaced. You may have seen that man on the cover of News Time. That was a disaster for us. And then Miracle went and made it all about himself. The long and short of it is, a lot of potential cousins just showed up. Sam's helping some of them, but she's not really going about it the right way. And she's not taking calls from anyone in the family. I let it slip through a mutual friend that I found you, and I was stopping in. It's manipulative, but I'm hoping she'll reach out to you. You can let her know I'm on her side. In the meantime, if you're willing, I can share our files with you. Pass them along to Sam if she reaches out. I'm genuinely hoping she'll realize I'm an ally. Feel free to do your own research. I've been told you enjoy things like this. To each their own.
Charlize Theron. Okay, so a bunch of cousins are showing up. Possible Infidelity 3, 1975 to 1982. Okay, so once again, I'm supposed to... Oh my god. This isn't small, is it? This is just like a bonus tree beneath the original tree. So we get to look at the original tree for reference, which is helpful. Guardian, adoption, or otherwise. It's interesting that it's left vague what the stamp means. It's not clarified. I can still go back and add things I missed. Oh. Oh. Okay. They did say that it spoils existing content. What they mean is that it clarifies every single spouse. So now we know every single person's spouse. Even the ones I didn't find. Which, like, some of these you could just ask. Okay. Terrifying baby photo. Drawing of a baby photo, so it's got the extra uncanny element of it being illustrated. Infidelity. Married. Split up. Okay, well, this is gonna get complicated really quickly, isn't it? Maybe I'll finally learn what these mean, because the game hasn't told me. It's under split up each time. But there's also split ups that don't have a rectangle around them. Most of them, even in the original tree. So this is just like a one-off rectangle that was never explained, as far as I can tell. But now there's, oh my god, there's so many of them now. There's like 7 more of them? Which I guess makes sense, because this is all about having a messy family. This might be hard. So we have this huge glade of just this one person. This one's a bonus little thing. And then these 2. So there's 4 fragments of family trees that do not connect. And that's where we're going now. Okay. What's interesting is that it's revealed, like, the Clancid Trust was revealed almost like as it was a secret. But, like, if I remember correctly, the document about the... oh, new notes. Okay, we're starting over. If I remember correctly, the thing we had about the Clancid... Okay, because this is a new file, so this isn't going to be importing anything from my previous save. I'm pretty sure the Clancid Trust was found... we found it because it was, like, taught in classes? Like, it wasn't that much of a secret. Although I guess it might have been, like, a higher level, like, legal class, as opposed to... let's see. It's probably like a college class where someone said they encountered it. Oh, the document for Clancid Trust is heavily updated, actually. The Clancid Trust is the Roottree Company's unusual legal arrangement and the motivation for most of their major financial decisions. As a recap, the entire family earns inheritance directly from the profits of the candy company, as well as their sister clothing company, Root, with a period. This means that nearly every Roottree can potentially have a say in the company's high-level operations. Historically, this has caused the family to be slow to approve any major expenditures that could significantly dig into the profits. After the release of 6 Pieces by Sam Madsen, that's the name of the probably come up with a page for this. Six Pieces Sam. Probably should start off with having something about that. Let's see. Anything new in the Notepad welcome page? Oh, this is where they explain third cousins. Okay. Yeah, this is the little tutorial thing. They had to explain the concept of school and yearbooks and cousins categorization because they want to be able to... One, because like the cousin stuff's complicated enough that a lot of Americans don't have this shit figured out. But like they also want to have it be playable internationally, so they have to explain family structures and the specifics of how our schools work and so on, because some of the stuff might just have no relevance to a bunch of people. The yearbook part's funny because I think it came up once or never. I'm not sure. Oops. A mishighlight. There we go. After the release of 6 Pieces by Sam Madsen, the Clancid Trust came under heavy scrutiny. Sam, her children, and her grandchildren should have all been covered under the trust, according to the wording revealed during an internal family conflict between Ron and Robbie Roottree. Which we knew, yeah. Yeah, as far as I can tell, at some point it was mentioned that it was covered in like a class somewhere, but yeah, it might have been like a college class, as opposed to it being like a legal thing that people learn about in like fucking high school. Because then if it was that widespread, you would think that everyone would have found it already. Oh, there's an older version of this page in the Time Travel Archive. Oh my god, they're using the old versions of the pages. You can access the pages. That's great. I wonder if that bit is in here. But that's fantastic. You can encounter the pre-DLC versions of certain pages, and they're framing it as like the Internet Archive. It is pretty great. Yeah, Roottree vs. RR 1994. University Law School. Yeah, okay. So they The guest lecturer talked about it. What if the guest lecturer was a Roottree, and that's how they're like trying to reveal their secrets and so on? Somebody that wanted to have this stuff out in the world. Anyway, we're getting off track a lot. It seems those who wrote the trust, Clancy Edward Roottree, at the direction of Elias Roottree, the fact that it's called the Clancid Trust because it's written by Clancy, purposely deceived the rest of the family about the exact details and how it worked, in an attempt to keep Sam and her father, Edward Clancy, his own twin brother, in comparative poverty. They literally lied about how their entire family's... He made a thing that's supposed to protect the family and enrich all of them, but then immediately had one family member that wasn't his favorite, and so he wanted to specifically deprive them. So he misled people about how this whole thing works, which once he's dead means that, like, who's there to enforce it and keep it consistent? Like, who has access to the actual original wording half the time? An attempt to keep Sam and her father, Edward Clancy, his own twin brother. Yeah, oh my god. That's cruel. That's cruel, but that's homophobia for you. His own twin brother, who he shares the same name with, reversed. He screwed him over. He actively screwed him over. In comparative poverty. Because the rest of the family made money hand over fist, they had very little motivation to question their understanding. Sam's book revealed this to the public, and it did not go over well. Clark Rafferty LaRue took over the company, and his most celebrated move was his first official one. He ensured Sam's family would get their share. That's kind of great. Clark and his infidelity and his messiness and so on. He's like seemed all right throughout the story. Like, he obviously is not the best husband and has been messy and was sleeping around and so on, but like there's like, I don't know, I guess at some level you just like want to like stick up for him a little bit. The more that you hear him getting just fucking bullied by his own mother in a public document, I was recently listening to Patricia Taxon's videos again on the way to and from FC in San Jose, the furry convention there. And like just hearing about how like their mother wrote about them and how difficult it was to raise them as a child in a book that's published, and it's like, oh my god, that's wild. That's the wildest things about some of these like family expose type things. It's one thing when it's like, I don't know what Samantha's writing was like, although it might be one of the pieces of evidence. Probably is. It would make sense that it is. Like, this is about like the political stuff that this family's up to some extent, like the things that they're doing to slight each other and to screw each other over. But just like having your raw opinions and like, it's like disowning your child essentially publicly and so on, like, which I don't think is even know how far she was going, but it's like it's just like a similar level of cruelty to do any of this stuff like on a public stage. You're like, oh my god. Let's see. Anyway. Do-do-do. So Clark took over. To help facilitate this, the inheritance aspect of the trust is now under the control of a third party, Ruby Legal Enterprises. We're going to want to know about them later. This ensures that the financial motivations of Roottree family members will not interfere with the investigations into potential new Rootrees. According to Clark's letter, however, some family members are still doing their best to slow the investigation by refusing to answer questions. Yep. I'm going to rename this document Clancid Trust. I wonder if there's a protection against... Nope, you can name two different things the same thing. I guess because you could have it be page 2 of the same thing. Although that's pages are infinite. Yeah, let's rename this to Clancid Trust because Otherwise, it's going to get really messy because I ended up, it's mostly about this page. And since the whole document is updated, there's going to be more going on here. This is just a helpful highlight to have because it helps me have their name and so on included for context, for further research. A lot of this is just, even if the notes aren't immediately super contextually helpful or understandable, there's just a lot of handiness and just like constantly highlighting all of the names just because you're like, oh, that's a name I gotta look into later. I try to binge these basically and try to keep them fresh the whole time. So I'm trying not to get myself get in a situation where I'm gonna like take a long break and forget the details. So that does a lot of the heavy lifting, but I'm not gonna remember all the names I see. So I need to know what the things are I can look into. Previously on the Roottree are dead. Can you zoom in on this? Yeah. Look at all that chromatic aberration on a presumed printout? This is a new investigation with a new focus. After many months of newfound interest in Rootrees, it is recommended you try to catch up with some of what happened since last time. Some web searches may yield new or different results, and some books and magazines from your previous investigation may be relevant to your new one. It's also a much more widespread search. The list of first and last names you can choose from will contain red herrings. Not all of them will be used. I was gonna say they learned from last time, but I think last time it was intentional that you could use up the entire list and use process elimination, whereas this one, they just want to have a different focus on it. And also, it's just not... I think it might be a smaller family tree. I could count them, I guess. Maybe I just should. Not counting these ones. So last time it was 50 big squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I think it's 30 unless I took a weird path and double counted or didn't count someone. 30 is a nice round number, so it seems about right. So it's not that much smaller than the original game. At least it's more than half as big. This will be a bit of a process. But with a smaller list, you don't want to have... With a smaller list and a bunch of separate names, you don't want to have a complete and one-to-one list of names, because really quickly you'd hit a point where you'd be like, well, there's only 4 people with this last name, and they're just an isolated tree that doesn't connect to the other trees, apparently. So almost immediately, with the power of gender, you could like fill in all the names immediately without having to find much. Let's see. Below is the reminder of most notable beats for your initial dive into the Roottree family tree. All evidence from before is still available, and for your convenience, any searches that do not lead to new information still function as they did during your first investigation. The Roottree Candy Company was founded by Elias and Gwyneth many years ago. The entire family had a financial reliance on the health of that company. Most of the action took place in and around Butler County, Pennsylvania, where the company was initially located. Elias, Carl, and Raina were on the cover of magazines. Huh. It's a weird bullet point. Other notable Rootrees such as Lauren Roottree, Miracle Roottree, and Jim Roottree had physical media such as record albums, books, and movies associated with them. Okay, it's literally just a list of places to find people's faces and stuff like that, which I guess is relevant to how I play the game and probably very helpful. But in a plot summary, what feels like a plot summary at first, it's very surreal to have that be the bullet points. Lauren's 2 diaries were probably the most useful resources overall, mentioning many of her relatives directly. Yes. The 5 pieces, Elias's children, could be identified based on the initials of the original candy flavors. There were 5 presidents of the Roottree Company, and many were featured in periodicals. Were they? I guess maybe they were. I sure couldn't fucking find them, though. I had to do other methods. Stephanie Jones and Brian Jones were featured in campaign posters and led to Carolyn Morden's art book, which enabled you to fill out most of the tree. Many of the younger... Carolyn Morden's art book enabled me to fill out most of the tree? Did it? I don't remember that. I remember looking into Carolyn Morden, the artist, and she had like a beauty of form book or something, but I don't remember it being super helpful. Many of the younger Rootrees were found by following a complex rabbit hole through a conspiracy site that led to finding a searchable web address for Chris Rafferty, Lauren's grandson, Chris Raff 75. November Roottree was really difficult to place. Okay, so I feel a little better that they're straight up telling me that. Her occupation could only be found via Brian Jones's company and website. Ronald and her brother Robert Roottree go by Ron and Robbie. Both worked on a TV show called Brother Trouble until Robbie embezzled money and fled to Paris. Ron unsuccessfully tried to have Robbie removed from the Clancid Trust. Oh. Oh. Oh, that I didn't understand this. Because the big, loud, illegitimate child-ish thing was about Sam in this story, I thought that was about Sam. But it's a different illegitimate child. They're right. Yeah. The RR company was primarily owned by the director guy, I think. And his brother was an illegitimate child, and that he was born after she got her divorce. So one of them was legitimate, the other one was illegitimate, in this weird ass way where people care about that kind of stuff. That's such a weird concept to me. Like, I don't think in modern years anyone gives a shit about this kind of stuff. Like, oh, you were born out of wedlock? Oh, shocking. Especially when it's like born out of wedlock where they fucked while they were married, but then they got a divorce before you were born. Like during the pregnancy, like that makes you a bastard or something is like even weirder because like you were conceived in wedlock. I've actually never in my entire life encountered the idea that somebody who is conceived in wedlock but then born out of wedlock is illegitimate. It has never occurred to me before. So I just 100% was not on the right page for that and thought it was about Sam. Man. It's got to be interesting watching me correctly fill in the tree, but have so many weird little misconceptions to the whole thing for people that have not only finished the game, but also had any of their misconceptions already corrected by this DLC, so they just know that I'm just like stuck on the wrong ideas. Sam and her father were cryptically mentioned in a book about historical letters. Book about historical letters. Cryptically mentioned. Is that the same book? Is that the same? Did I find that book? It's not named, so I'm like, what book was that? Because they're not calling it the diary. The diary was already mentioned earlier, and they're mentioning like, I don't know if I don't remember if I found that book or not. That's interesting. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. It's vague enough that I just don't immediately lock onto like what they were talking about specifically. Anyway, because in my playthrough, one of the big clues was the thing with the stuff, the weird story about like, why is this girl hugging my dad? And it's like that was supposed to blow the whole thing wide open that they were twins, which was harder to fully understand. I wish I had that like epiphany because that would have been cool. There's a few dead ends and red herrings. Aloysius Herring Roottree, who claimed he was a Roottree but it was not. Family Man, a book about Elias Roottree, turned out to be propaganda, not useful. What? I don't think I found that book. Lauren's other books, historical romance novels, were not useful on their own, though could lead to other information. Carolyn Morton's sculptures were not useful. Huh. Family Man. I want to Google that now. I'm just gonna keep calling it Google it. I'm sorry, but that's just like a word. I'm going to search the internet is like too much of a pain in the ass. Family Man, The Roottree Legacy by Bess Williams. It's a very poorly received book about Elias Roottree. There are very few copies of the original. Recently published by the same publishing company that printed Lauren's diaries for schools. Seems to be that they wish to capitalize on the Roottreemania. I think I recognize it now. A reprinting of an old book about Elias Roottree, it's blatant corporate propaganda. I just want to quickly... Yeah, I had the feeling that Roottreemania is in fact actually a page too. I wanted to quickly search that and didn't really have like a place I'd want to... Was this the book that was... I don't remember what the deal was. I think this might have been a book that was out of print. Like, I'm curious why they're listing it as a red herring, because, like, I thought that I, like, heard about it and looked it up in the library, and it was like, unfindable. I wonder if you were able to find a copy of it or something. Or maybe some of these things that are introduced as red herrings are ironically potentially useful. It does have 2 hints in it. So maybe I think they're being a little sneaky and funny here. I think that some of these names, some of the stuff might be more. Yeah, it does specifically say there's 8 useful things here too. I think some of these things didn't go anywhere last time, and they're being. Oh, okay. To be fair, it says dead ends and red herrings, but it says turned out to be propaganda, not useful, which implies I could have read it. But I really thought that this was a thing that I found existed, and they're like, yeah, it's out of print. It's like unfindable, and it even says here that it came back into print in response to Roottreemania. So if that's the case, then how did it supposedly turn out to be propaganda that was unuseful? Like, it could turn out to be that now, but I'm really thrown by this. I'm like, didn't I not get a chance to read it? So therefore there's no conclusions I could have had yet about it? Anyway. Roottreemania. Roottreemania immediately followed the announcement that a rapper going by 5 Ps was actually a Roottree. Okay. Let's get this going. 5 Ps. 5. Hey, Roottreemania fits in the character limit. I kind of wish that the strips just kind of got longer to fit more letters or something, or you wrote smaller. I know that these don't actually get longer in real life. If you look at my my B-Stars video essay, you can see a bit where I had every volume of B-Stars that have been published in the United States so far with these little things sticking out of all the pages, because I was trying to keep track of specific through lines and where they came up, which was very useful for being able to constantly refer to things and figure out the exact quote or context and so on later. But I didn't really try to write on them very much. I mostly just decided each color meant a different theme or recurring thing I wanted to pay attention to later, and I just kind of stuck them in throughout. But that's highlighting a document, whereas this is like an attempt at saying what your sections of your notebook are for, which for this would be more convenient to have those like labeled tabs. Like having a notebook with like separators and so on, instead of this mess. I would definitely use these for annotating a document I'm reviewing, like these books in here and not my own journal. Partly because your own journal has so much handling involved in writing that I feel like they get displaced. But anyway, Roottreemania immediately followed the announcement that a rapper going by 5 Ps was actually a Roottree. Collectively, popular culture seemed to focus on the Roottree family and 5 Ps for a few weeks before everything felt oversaturated and society moved on. Because of the 5 Ps saga, an underlying through line to how pop culture treated Roottreemania was an excuse for everyday people to claim they were also Roottrees. Daytime talk shows had I'm a Secret Roottree episodes. Late night hosts and guests made jokes about other lost members of the family, and there was a widely shared website where you could fill in your own name to find out if you were a secret Roottree. When you submitted your name, it simply said no, with an image of Clark Rafferty LaRue giving you the finger. Roottreemania lasted only a few weeks, just long enough for 6 pieces to re-enter the charts. 6 pieces? 5 pieces? 6 pieces to re-enter the charts. and to trigger new printings of other Roottrees-related media. So Roottreemania caused the book that was just made to re-enter the charts? I guess it was triggered by 5Ps, which happened sometime later, I guess. Because you would think that 5P said this in response to 6 pieces, which, like, arguably did happen, but I guess it was later, long enough later that 6 pieces was no longer a New York Times bestseller or whatever, and that made it popular again. Okay. I'm thinking that 5Ps might be the crux of, or a part of, like, that biggest chunk of the tree, but we'll see. This included Lauren's diaries, VHS releases of Gwen's old movies, and as well as countless other unauthorized biographies which seemed to attempt to capitalize on the Roottree sisters, Carl and Brenda. That'll be interesting. We have reprints specifically, so there's documents we didn't have access to before that might have secret lore now, and they exist again. VHS releases makes me think that they're gonna let me actually watch videos this time. That'll be part of the new, like, level of mixed media for this little expansion. These re-releases were too late to successfully capitalize on or extend the craze. As a result, most of them were failures, and countless novelty shirts that had variations of "I'm a secret Roottree" became immediately unfashionable, though some still wear them ironically. Fashionable. Like some tacky text on a graphic tee was ever fashionable. As somebody who wears graphic tees all the time, I'm just like, I don't know, like I can... A jokey text graphic tee, I just would, even if it was like slightly trendy, or like a meme, a joke a lot of people got or something, I would never be like, yeah, it's fashionable. It's just not a word I would use. But I guess there's other definitions. An unexpected visitor. Today, August 3rd, 1999, there was a knock at your door. Clark Rafferty LaRue, the current president of the Roottree Candy Company, explained that multiple people have come out of the woodwork to claim to be Rootrees. He's been trying to work with Sam, but she has not answered his calls. He also handed you a letter that he said you could share with Sam that said the following. To both of you, the company I hired to help us with the Clancid Trust is busy pouring through the entire family's history as well as people they may have had contact with. That said, the family is not particularly happy with this and are doing their best to slow things down. Many of them are actively avoiding our interviews. Every time there's a high-profile public case, it causes headaches, so please, I don't mind if you do your research, but I ask that you stop going to the press. Instead, we have a highly trained team of lawyers to back you up. We're ready and willing to verify anyone and everyone to believe you believe could be realistically part of the relationship that led to the birth of a new Roottree. Just tell us who to investigate by filling in the new sections of the tree, and we'll take the time to handle verifying that the timeline checks out. But keep in mind why we're here. If someone didn't have a child, or has already been disqualified by our lawyers, like in the case of the girl with the negative DNA test... Hello? I guess Clancid Trust? Keep an eye on this DNA test thingy. Somebody's already been disqualified by our lawyers, like in the case of the girl with the negative DNA test. There won't be a place for them on the tree. If DNA tests are on the cards, I feel like that simplifies the process, so we could just do that. We just do that. This is a goofy nitpick, but they posed him behind the door frame, and it led to them not drawing the outline of the door frame, but also not the outline of his arm. It just that part of his arm just isn't here because of the door frame, and they just didn't like draw it in afterwards because it's probably done in like a filter or something, or I don't know. Maybe it's drawn over. It just looks weird. That looks weird. We're not just looking for affairs and infidelities, we're only looking for the ones that led to a potential new Roottree. Right. Because if they didn't get pregnant, then it doesn't matter if they slept with a random person. Sleeping with somebody doesn't make them an heir. I mean, marriage and stuff in some context does, but in this case, the Clancid Trust is specifically, it only cares about people that were born. What was this sentence up here again? We're ready and willing to verify anyone and everyone you believe could realistically be part of a relationship. Yeah, just fill in the tree. We'll take the time to handle verifying that the timeline checks out. So I figure out the tree of what logically makes sense, and then they're going to independently do the work of actually investigating that person once I think that I've grokked who it is or whatever, which... This is one of the funnier cases of, like, we already had this, which barely made sense in universe. Now we have, like, extremely esoteric infidelity trees that are pre-filled out without me having any information yet. So it's like, who the fuck made this tree? It's on my wall as if I made it, but how the fuck? Because, like, how would I even know to have this? It doesn't make any sense. It's interesting trying to imagine a version of this game where you actually had to build the family tree yourself. And form the connections and so on. It would have been harder, which is probably why they didn't do it. I mean, harder for them and me, because harder for me to solve, and they'd have even more work to do about figuring out how to provide the information with so many more relational aspects that we didn't have access to up front. Let's see. You can open this envelope after the whole tree's been filled in. You have to be extra sleuthy this time around to deduce the truth. Pay attention to what you find and be sure to look into loose ends. Okay. Alright, back to this mess. Some spots in the new section will be marked with a tree icon. Those areas are reserved for members of the original family tree you filled in 8 months ago. Just like last time, be sure to use birth names for everyone you added. But married names or nicknames won't be enough. There's tree icons. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So each of these tree people, which is a weird way to put that, unless they're from the free spirit generation, it's gonna be one of these people. But again, is it gonna be you, Clark? You have a history, Clark? Are you gonna be showing up again, Clark? Are you gonna be one of these 4, 5 root trees? Oh, that's interesting. What's going on there? 1 root tree, 1 root tree, 1 root tree, 2 root trees. What does that mean? Did you fuck your cousin? Probably not. I don't know. I think they might not be going there. I think it might be that they're married up here. It's this because yeah, they're literally married. So it's not. Well, I cannot definitively say that being married doesn't mean that they're cousins. I think there's parts of the United States that are up to some shit, or were, or are. But it might be a child that just wasn't claimed. Well, actually, yeah, these are possible infidelities 1, 2, and 3. This is just a family tree update in 1998. Oh, I know what this is. This one's easy, actually. This one's really easy. It's you. It's you guys. It's Brian Jones and Stephanie Landon, obviously. God, I'm so smart. Okay, Stephanie. Brian. I apparently need to rediscover their faces or something. Stephanie Jones. I should finish reading this document though. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. It's just, I'm being dumped into a weird hybrid thing that's both the past and the future, and it's full of all these weird things. And there's like several recap documents that are themselves actually full of clues, and you can't just ignore them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Stephanie and Brian, so that was easy. Yeah, and the tree being updated in 1998. Yeah, because she was pregnant in 1998. Her daughter was, or her child was supposed to be born around Christmas. Let's see. To start sorting out the infidelities, I recommend you turn your eyes to the men in positions of power. I'd love to say that's only because it would have been a lot harder for women to hide 9 months of pregnancy and birth without the family noticing, but I can't. I'll be blunt. I'm no stranger to infidelity. I wish I could claim that I was the perfect husband, but you've seen the family tree, so why pretend? Some of us learned how to wield our family name and fortune for our benefit. Consequences be damned. I can't change the past or unhurt those who I've betrayed. Instead, all I can do is be honest with myself and to you, refuse to make any more mistakes, and do my best to sort out the various messes we've left behind. So please, fill in the tree, and together we can figure out how to begin to make amends. Good luck, and thank you both. Clark. Yeah, like I'm vaguely sympathetic to Clark in that, like, he's got a messy history, but his mom was, like, so fucking mean to him in those documents, and ultimately he is the one that's, like, spearheading the effort to make sure that everyone gets their inheritance, which does mean probably directly uncovering his own infidelities. I'm so sure one of these is Clark. That makes perfect sense. And it'd be like, okay, what mess did he leave behind, and how many people were being excluded that should be included now? And like, he could just ignore them. He could just not get involved at all, and instead he probably will. It also might be Chris here. Either way, Chris and Clark are going to be in a document again. Like, there are new question marks up here, which is interesting. Look back at this. Look at the little baby. Yeah, this part was easy. Brian Jones posted this photo of his family together in the hospital following the birth of their newborn girl. His new daughter is wearing an adorable little Santa hat, and his wife Stephanie is giving her signature thumbs up move from her campaign literature. Wow, her signature thumbs up. No one's ever done that before. All right, boop. They even say campaign literature just to remind you that they are, please tell me they named the child. No! The newest Jones. No, it just says newborn girl. Maybe this is the little mini tutorial though. Let's see. Jones. Oops. Oh, with a first and last name. Oh, fuck. Oh, this is harder. That's interesting. It's like playing the DLCs to the Case of the Golden Idol and the Rise of the Golden Idol, where they change the format. You expect them to just recreate how the game was already working so far, but instead they specifically changed the rules and structure in some ways. Okay. You're in politics, and you're a baby. I assume you're still a baby. Did they say what year it is now? Check my computer. 1999. Oh, it's only been like 8 months. Okay. So it's not that long later. So that was a relatively condensed timeline of the book coming out and then falling out of relevance, and then 5 Ps claiming to be a root tree, and then the book spiking again, and then the bonus investigation happening. Which means it has taken a bit for him to come to me with this case, which is slightly more sus, but admittedly, there's some untold level of time spent trying to unpack all this mess. The final affair. Oh, they're numbered. First affair, second, third, and fourth, I assume. They're not named, but I assume it's just like a progression. Then final affair. If that's the final affair, that means that these do not have a relational... These placements do not have a relation between time and y-axis. Because in here, the further down you got, the younger these people are. No, because the final affair chronologically have to happen afterwards. And so these kids are probably the youngest, but they're in a swoopy whoop all the way around here. This is a really weird, messy way to organize this. I think they just wanted to make it fit under the previous tree or something. But I could do with more space between these parts of the tree that aren't connected. And it's awkward that these two affairs are directly above and below each other, because that... I know there's no yarn connecting them, but it looks a little too much like they'd be connected. I'm kicking myself for not understanding that he was trying to get him out of the family tree. Because what I didn't get is I was like, okay, yeah, Sam's an illegitimate child, but what's the crime she did? Because they said that she did a crime. They said that the person did a crime against the family. So I was like, what did Sam do? And I'm like, oh, yeah, you. It's just that we had spent so little time thinking about this guy that I just didn't dwell on him long enough to unpack that detail. I think part of why I'm so scatterbrained is because I'm torn between the past revelations about the past campaign and the new stuff. Let's see. There's a new page. It seems that Brian Jones has been busy updating Stephanie Jones's campaign website. 2 new sections exist. The first is baby photo. There you see a picture of their new family together in the hospital. According to the site, our daughter was named after her grandmother, which ended up being very fitting considering she was born the night before Christmas. That sucks. Just for birthday purposes. My brother is only a couple weeks away from Christmas, and it's always like you gotta like come up with 2 different gifts for the same person within a month. It's just like a weird process. Having your freaking this reminds me of like what the song "Children of December," where the lyrics like the lyrics are like all the parents of the children of December have a clutch because their birthdays are the hardest to remember. Born after Christmas, the day before New Year's. Okay, so what was... her. Not you. Okay, our daughter was named after her grandmother, not Stephanie's grandmother. I had to clarify that real quick. So Stephanie's mom. So... Carolyn. Yeah, it wouldn't be Eloise. It's literally her mom. So Carolyn. So she's still maintaining the family tradition of naming everybody after Carolyn. Carol, I guess, because Carolyn's not an option. Carol Jones, because that's a dad's name. Is Jones. That should be set up. The second is, what's next? There's not much substance there right now, but it lists some small accomplishments and finishes with the recent rise in popularity and controversy surrounding my extended family, there has been some extra attention on me. Stay tuned for announcements in the coming months about how I plan to use this publicity to accomplish bigger and better things. Given the context you have expected to be like, stay tuned for more surprise children announcements in my family. I've been a mess. But no. Alright. That's probably done. I've been a little scatterbrained, but this was the intro. It was messy. Next episode, I'll start digging in proper, I think. Yeah. Interesting way to start the expansion.